Well, we need to look at the efficiency of the maritime transport services we are providing.
Yeah.
The second, we need to look at the maritime safety security, because we are facing problems of piracy, armed robbery, illegal migration, illegal fishing, and all that. And then, fourthly, we have to look at the maritime training, education, because we need to train our people so that they can be competitive in the labor market.
Right.
And then lastly, we need to be looking at transit transport, because we have a problem of cabotage, coastal shipping. We'll be having problems of to compete with the trucks, because the trucks have social costs.
Yeah.
They are spawning our roads, but we can use the sea.
Yeah.
So we need to have policy that will encourage our industries to move into that.
Yeah. And when you look at the whole spectrum of issues that you have raised, where are we as a continent in terms of competitiveness, say, for instance?
Well, in terms of the supply of tonnage,
yeah,
the sub-region is less than 1%. In fact, total Africa is less than, sub-Saharan Africa is less than 1%. The whole Africa is less than 4%. And that's where we need to grow. And the way to grow is to have the enabling conditions established by governments to enable the private sector to move into the industry.
Yeah. Now, of course, the globe is a global village. It's a global village now. So you've got companies coming out of your established nations in shipping, such as Norway, Greece, the US, and all those other East Asian nations. In that context, in Africa, as we grow, do we need our own shipping companies? Do we need to establish rules and regulations by these things, by which these companies play? Or should we just open up to the world?
Well, I like to bring it down to the 4 Ps, like the place, the product, the price, and then the promotion. Are we competitive in all these 4 areas? If we look at the fact that Africa is mostly exporting, and we are importing manufactured goods. You know, it makes it very difficult to really run a shipping line that will, from all these countries. I mean, if we have an African shipping line, that'll be fine. But 2 or 3 or 4 will compete with each other, and that will be very uncompetitive. Then when we look at the products that we are producing, like are we going to do a liner service or bulk shipping? We need to look at that carefully. Cabotage, coastwise shipping, And then fourthly, we have to look at the price we are charging. If the deep sea vessels are charging maybe $2,000 to ship a container from Amsterdam to, let's say, west coast of Africa, and you have to charge $5,000, you can't be competitive.
Right.
So we need to be competitive on price. And then lastly, we need to promote our industry.
Right.
And promoting industry means that we should get government backing in neighboring conditions in various ports. Ports should be efficient. We should be able to turn around ships very quickly, and all that. So, but the basic principle I would like to add is that we should be able to participate in the industry without protection. If we are able to do that, then we have a sustainable industry.
Sure. Now, in terms of policy formulation, we know, of course, African governments in many respects lack the capacity to develop policies that are required for them, for instance, within the maritime industry.
Yeah.
What can Africa do at the AU level, perhaps at the regional level in blocks such as ECOWAS, SADC, EAC, etc.?
Well, right now we need a formula policy framework. The African Union has come out with...
Do we need a Pan-African one, or do we need one that just each country develops its own?
No, we shouldn't leave it to individual countries. We should have a Pan-African policy. Yeah. We want to create one common market, that will serve Africa. Shipping is to move cargo. So if you don't have the cargo, you can't run shipping. Otherwise it becomes like just a national pride. So if we create a continent-wide cargo movement, then we can talk about shipping. So I think that if Africa can move forward to create a market, and then the market will be moved by the shipping industry, then we will be talking of shipping industry. But right now, the individual countries have too small of cargo volumes. Like South Africa, I learned that it's about 200,000 tons per annum, for instance. 200,000 tons may be a big cargo, volume, but for 2 or 3 shipping lines, that will be small. So we need to really come together and have
so we need to work together. The capacity is not there to
create the
develop
capacity.
on our own.
Create the capacity.
Okay, quickly. Talk to me through the trends that you have seen in terms of increasing tonnage to Africa, because everybody keeps saying, no, Africa is becoming the center of attraction for the world in terms of its resources, in terms of also the consumer populations that we're seeing beginning to spring up across Africa.
Yeah, we can increase tonnage.
How big is it?
You know, we can increase tonnage if we we do the right things.
Are we increasing tonnage?
Right now, no, because we don't have the neighboring conditions. We can't compete with the current shipping lines. You know, that's the problem.
But is there increasing tonnage coming into Africa?
Increasing tonnage from foreign. We know we don't lack problems. We don't lack tonnage for our cargo. You know, but it's only being run by foreign shipping lines. Right. And foreign shipping lines are doing well simply because they are sort of partnerships.
Right.
You know, they are creating around the world shipping companies. You know, 3 or 4 companies can come together and they can create the containers. They have the right shapes, but Africa would like to think individual, and that is the problem. So I think the summit is a real great conference in which we are observing, and it will really help not only South Africa but the rest of Africa, and I believe we have a future ahead of us.